In this video I want to show you how we can connect every single open source LLM with N8N. This is really cool because we have some advantages if we use open source LLMs. Some people don't like the models from OpenAI, some people don't like the models from Google, from Anthropic or from all these API providers. They want to run something locally. This has some advantages and also some disadvantages. I just want to tell you really quickly what these advantages and disadvantages are. So the advantages of open source LLMs are, of course, data security. They run private on your own server, on your own hardware. This means that nothing gets sent out to OpenAI, to Google, to Anthropic, to DeepSeek, to whatever API provider. This thing will stay on your local machine so your data is protected. Also, free of charge. You can use them for free forever, how often you want. The next thing is, you can also download uncensored models. It's totally possible. You can search for dolphin models, for example. So dolphin models, these things are normally uncensored, so you can ask whatever you want. Some people tell you that the OpenAI models have a political direction in the left side. Other people tell you that this is not true. I don't really want to go that deep into this conversation, but you have the possibilities to download open source models that are completely unbiased if you want. But what are the disadvantages on the other side? Eventually lower performance than the best API providers. If you have high performance, for example, a DeepSeek R1 model, they need, of course, strong hardware. So strong hardware is required for the big models. If you use DeepSeek, you don't have function calling, so you are simply not always state-of-the-art with these open source models, or if you want to be state-of-the-art, you need to have a really powerful machine. But don't worry, after this video you know how you can run these models, you know how you can find these models, you know what model you can run on your machine and how you can run it in N8N. The first thing that you do is you Google Ollama and then you press on Ollama. And as soon as you are on this web page, you simply press download. You just have to press download one single time and this thing will get automatically downloaded on your local machine. Nothing will pop up. This will simply work in the background. If you press down here, you see that Ollama is running on my machine. So simply press download and Ollama will do its thing. And it works for Mac, for Linux and also for Windows. So simply press download. As soon as this is downloaded, you see it here, you can run different models. You can run Llama 3.3, DeepSeek R1, Pi 4, Mistral, Llama, you can run everything. You simply press on models and then you can see what models are trending. So DeepSeek R1 is right now, of course, a hot model. Everybody loves to use DeepSeek. You can also try to use Llama 3.3 if you have strong hardware. You can use Pi 4, Llama 3.2, Llama 3.1. You have a lot of different tools. But you see, you have a lot of different tools even if you just use one model. I want to make this example with DeepSeek because everybody loves DeepSeeks nowadays. You see 18.9 million pulls in just 13 days. This is completely nuts. Llama has 1.3 million pulls in 2 months. Let's just press on DeepSeek. And now I want to show you what model you should choose. Generally speaking, the higher the parameters, the stronger the model. The smallest model has 1.5 billion parameters. The next model has 7 billion parameters. 8 billion, 14 billion, 32, 70B, and 671 billion parameters. The higher the parameters, the more, let's just call it, point of views that the model can look on these problems. And if you press on these, you see how big these models are. A 7B model is 4.7 gigabyte. And as a rule of thumb, let's just write this down. VRAM equals gigabyte of model size, at least. Maybe it also should be a little bit bigger. So basically, if you want to download a 7B model, you should have at least like 5 gigabyte of VRAM. If you have 5 GB of VRAM or most likely 6 GB of VRAM, you could run, for example, this model, the 8B model. Maybe, but just maybe, you can also try to run the 14B model, but then it will get like really ugly. Maybe it's a little bit slow. You need to play with this a little bit. This is not set in stone. But as a rule of thumb, use a model that is roughly the size of your VRAM or a little bit smaller. If you want to play it safe, start with the smallest model. If it runs, go a bit bigger, a bit bigger, a bit bigger, until it runs slow, and then you go one step back. Now something else, you can also press on View All. And here you see that you have even more models. So you see some things are here, Quen, Distill, FP16, then Q4 and so on, and really small models with just 1.1 GB. Now what all of this means. If you see, for example, FP16, this means float point 16. This is generally speaking the biggest model. If you see these Q models, you have Q4, Q8 and so on. These are a little bit distilled. So basically, FP16 is the full model. Then you have Q8. This is basically the same model but a little bit distilled, a little bit smaller. You see it also here. The 1.5B in FP16 has 3.6 GB. The Q8 has 1.9 GB and the Q4 has 1.1 GB. They get quantized. This basically means the same thing as a resolution if you watch a video. If you watch a video in Full HD, it's basically a video, and if you watch it in 720p, it's also basically the same video, but a little bit weaker. So keep this in mind. I would suggest with this DeepSeek models a Q8 version. And if you simply go back here to this DeepSeek and simply use this right here, these are all Q8 models, by the way. If you press on View All, and if you scroll down to the biggest model of them all, let's just see this right here. The 671B in FP16, this is like gigantic, 1.3 terabyte. So please just don't try to run this model like you will not have enough memory for these models. Of course, there's a lot more to these open source models. This was basically just a crash course. And now I want to show you how you can run these models, because you are here to run these models. You have downloaded the Ollama. Everything that you do right now is you open up the terminal. Boom, there we have the terminal. Then you search the model that you want. I use for this example DeepSeek R1, the 7B model. Then we copy this line, so Ollama run DeepSeek R1 7B. We throw it in our terminal, and then Ollama will simply do its thing and run this model. As soon as you do this the first time, the model needs to get downloaded. This will take a little bit. If you have already downloaded this model, it will be like somehow fast. I have already downloaded this model, so you see DeepSeek is right now here. And I simply tell, hey DeepSeek, how is it going? And this thing will talk back to me. It thinks. So this is a thinking model with test time compute. You already know what this is. And DeepSeek simply tells me what it's thinking. And because this has test time compute, you can also ask like logical questions, and also code is great. By the way, you can also close this down. If you open this back up later, once again terminal, and if you simply throw this in once again and send it out, this thing will be here for you all the time. If you clear your screen and type in Ollama surf, you can also make a local server, and this local server listen to this URL. You can also test this. If you copy these, throw it right here, and you see Ollama is running. So basically you have also a local server where this thing is running, and we can connect this with n8n, and now I want to show you how. We simply go into n8n, we press create workflow, and we simply do something really easy. We just want to throw in DeepSeek here. We call this workflow, let's just call it Ollama test, for example. This will be a really simple workflow, so you can do whatever you want. You can also make this bigger, and feel free to play with this a little bit, but just remember that it does not have function calling. So DeepSeek has no function calling. What I want to do is to press plus right now. We simply use, let's just say, the AI agent. This is just for the sake of this tutorial. Now this is connected, and now you know that we need to have a chat model in order to talk with this thing. So we simply press plus, and here we need to use the Ollama chat model. And if we press on this Ollama chat model, you see that this thing is automatically connected. And if you press on it here, of course you need to give new credentials. Here is a small little bug, and I see all the time failures here. So basically this will not work at the first time as you do this. You need to make most likely new credentials, and with these new credentials you have to make this a little bit better. Here we have some bugs from time to time and you need to fix this. If you connect this the first time and you simply press save, yes, it will not work. So you see this thing is red, and red is never good. And now I want to show you why this is not working. I think this is a bug. If you see right here, HTTP, localhost and so on, 11434. And if we go here in our terminal, let's just open this terminal up. You see basically that this thing down here is right, 11434. So we basically just have to fix these things here and then it works. Now basically everything that we do is the following. We go in here and we copy these. So 127.0.0.1. We copy these numbers. Then we come back here. We delete this local host. And then we throw this thing in here. Now we press save and then it should be green, and boom, there we have it. So basically now we are connected with our local Ollama server. And as soon as you are connected, you can press on these models. Let's just see where these models are. Now they are again back, and you can press on these, and here you can see what models you have. I have, for example, installed Llama 3.2, 3.1, the Llama 3 latest, DeepSeek R1 latest, and DeepSeek R1 7B. And if you press on one of these models, you are connected instantly. And boom. And if you press save, you can also chat with this thing. So if you press chat, you can chat with DeepSeek. Let's just say, hey. And this thing should right now talk back. This should be DeepSeek. And in order to test if this is DeepSeek, we can simply throw in a hard math question and see if this thing can answer. This thing should be a hard math question. So question 1 and so on. Let's just copy these and see what's the right answer. The right answer is, of course, D. We come back into n8n, we throw this in, we send this out, and then we see if DeepSeek can answer this from our local machine. And there you see it, so think, okay, I have this blah 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 and so on, we get a gigantic answer, and the final answer is D. So this is basically correct. Congratulations DeepSeek, like good job. And you know, of course, you can connect this model however you want. If we go back to our workflow, let's just save this. Let's just say we come back to the sentiment analysis with this basic LLM chain. Of course, you could also, for example, delete this thing here and use another model. So if you would delete this, press plus, use Ollama. You can also use Ollama for this. Let's just simply press test workflow, Arnie. I like it, submit, LLM chain works, and everything worked right here. And of course you could also use another model, like a thinking model would most likely not be the right model for these. This is for a simple sentiment analysis. Please use, for example, Llama 3.2. It's also the possibility that DeepSeek messes this up because of the thinking steps. So use the right model for you. For the sentiment analysis, most likely a Llama model would be better, but you can connect every single model in this way. The only downside is, of course, that not every single open source model has function calling, but right now we do not use function calling. With the simple nodes that we have made until now, all of these open source models will most likely work. So in this manner, you know how you can connect Ollama. It's basically really easy. You download Ollama, you find the right model for you, your VRAM should be bigger than the gigabyte of the model, you can install it, you can install thinking models just like DeepSeek if you do code or math questions. If you use other problems, like most likely a Llama model would be better, maybe also Mistral. For the sentiment analysis, a Llama 3.2 or 3.3 would be perfect, for example. And the advantages are that they are completely for free, forever, and they are also private. See you in the next one. And because in the next one I want to show you how you can connect every single API that you want. You do not have to use only OpenAI. You can use every single API provider that you want.